Hi. Okay, today's day 7 of mastering astral projection. Let's see. So today, there was something I didn't talk about before, so I'm going to talk about it today. Um, this book is supposed to come with a CD that has what they call a Brainwave Generator and has some other documents in there, like the affirmations in WAVE and MP3 format. Now, the Brainwave Generator is an installable program. It's a .exe file supposed to go on a Windows machine, and they made it around the time of Windows 95. So if you have any Windows operating system after that, it won't install. There's some references to this on the internet, and I hunted around to see if I could find an updated version of it, but I couldn't. So what this is supposed to do is to use binaural feedback to help establish a brainwave pattern by listening to the Brainwave Generator over headphones. This I haven't heard it, but knowing what these things do, they put a pulse at a particular frequency into one ear, and then another pulse of a variable frequency, sorry, not a variable frequency, a varying frequency into the other ear, depending on what frequency they want the brain to be resonating at. So often they'll try and get you quickly into the alpha state, which I think resonates between 7 and 13 hertz, or they'll take you deeper into a theta state, which resonates, I think, between 4 and 7 hertz. And these different brain states are the brain states that we are in when we are in alpha. It's being creative, thinking outside the box. And when we start to go to sleep, and then theta is actually when we get into sleep, and these are the areas in which we dream. So I've made some music that its purpose is to generate this brainwave state. So I'm going to put a link to the music on the blog so that people can reference it. If they want to listen to music, you can listen to it for free. You can buy the tracks too, but you can listen to them for free right from my website. They're actually YouTube videos. So you can either find them on my channel, they're called Neural Ambience, or you can just go directly to my website, and there's 5 videos there, and you can just listen to the videos for free if you want to. So anyway, each of these exercises in each day is supposed to begin with, not supposed to, it's optional actually, to use the Brainwave Generator. So if you wanted to do that for 20 minutes, you could listen to my music and have the same result. Anyway, so we're doing the entire body tense and relax that we've done. The last day 6 was the complete cycle, so you could refer to that day for the entire body relaxation exercise, which is for about 5 minutes, then focusing on the breath for 5 minutes, and then doing the energy body stimulation leg work. So this was doing the brushing over the toes, then brushing over the feet, and doing the stirring in the feet, then brushing all the way up the front of the legs, then up the side of the legs, then the inside of the legs, and then doing the sponging of the legs. And again, I'm having variable success with that. I'm not feeling a lot of stimulation. Now, one of the things that they did comment on, though, is that if you're feeling an over amount of stimulation in the legs, like tingling sensations, etc., to the point of discomfort, that's usually a sign that there's a block. So you actually need to try and work with that a little bit more to release that block, because apparently it's those blocks that will prevent the astral projection experience. So maybe it's good that I'm not feeling so much of a sensation because I don't have any blocks. So, but that's my experience so far. It's very, very subtle. The next thing that they've introduced in day 7 is the energy body bounce, and this is through the legs. And I've actually worked with this quite a bit already. It is, the way that I visualize it is like a ball, and it starts underneath the foot, and it runs all the way up the leg. It hits the pelvis, and then it bounces back down to the ground. Or you can actually imagine it going just out the pelvis and then coming back in, as if on the other side of the pelvis and below their feet was a table or a floor that the ball is bouncing off of, and the sensation is about experiencing the ball moving through the legs. I haven't had so much a strong result with it going through parts of the body, but through the head, which we haven't done yet, but we'll get there, I'm sure. That is pretty swimmy. But so try working with this. I have found that it's difficult for me to extend my legs in my imagination and have the bounce going through when I'm sitting. So you could do one of two things. You could either stand, or you could do what I do, which is I imagine the ball moving in an arc. So I imagine the ball big enough that it actually is moving in an arc from my foot all the way up to my pelvis and then back. And so the ball is always enveloping my foot, leg, and when it hits the knee when I'm sitting and it's bent, you can see one side of it just making the edge of the inside of the knee while the outside is extended further beyond the knee. But then when it hits the surface behind the pelvis, it's actually the opposite end of the ball that's touching that area. So hopefully that makes sense. They say not to rush it as well, so you'll get into a rhythm where it feels like it's right, and just stick with that rhythm. You want to imagine that the ball's moving fast enough that it's bouncing, but you don't want it to go too fast so that it doesn't create energy sensations, and you don't want it going too slow because it won't create energy sensations as well. So, that's the end of the first week. So dreams last night for me, I had 3 dreams that I recalled. One was in the middle of the night. I did actually manage to drag myself to the computer to take a couple notes so I could go back to sleep, which I didn't go back to bed like I've complained about before. But the dream was that I was at my dad's house in the country, and there was an animal there. It was kind of like a cross between a cat and a ferret. And I guess this is an animal that was very close to me, and it was gray and black, and they were going to take the animal away. And I was unhappy about this, and I was spending as much time with the animal as I could before they took the animal away. And, kind of reflecting on experiences that I'd had with the animal, and then I walked into the kitchen and there was this giant sink. It was so big that you couldn't even reach the faucet from one end of the sink. So I was trying to wash something off, and I kind of lost a lot of the detail of the dream at this point. And I remember trying to wash something off for, I think, the animal, and my dad had something in the sink and I'd spilled something on it, and I don't know. So that was what I remember of the dream. And then I had another dream that there was a SWAT team that was coming into my house, and I felt framed because I thought somebody had complained about something and I had no idea what it was, what SWAT was looking for. Anyway, they came into my house and then they left, and they didn't find what they were looking for. And then they came back a second time, and I was like, oh, really? And they were parked across the street. And I remember them doing practice exercises going down the driveway of the condominium complex across the street. And they were using their laser sights, and I could see the little red beads hitting the sides of buildings and plants and things, but they hadn't come over to the house yet. But I was getting ready to leave, and I didn't have time to wait around for them to come into the house, but I was concerned that when they did come in, they would start destroying things. So I left, and I got on the phone and was calling my next-door neighbor, and he didn't pick up his phone. So I was calling his wife, and I couldn't get her either, but I remember thinking to myself, they're not going to like her. They have to talk to him because they're going to ignore her. That was the dream. And also there was a dream of sexual nature last night, which I'm not going to give any details about. So I think that about covers it. Thanks a lot.